Hello again, this is Heretic Prince. I was initially looking for the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster release date, which as far as I can tell is still just said to be sometime in February. We still don't have a day. It should also be noted that this is the second time it's been held back, yet the delays may be with good reason. This article from Game Rant says that Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster may remove censorship from original release. Now at first I thought, what are you talking about? But then I remembered back whenever I was a boy and I got the Final Fantasy II for the Super Nintendo. And in the instruction booklet, there is a scene where the person in the telescope room says that the moon is turning red, just like the color of our blood. Yet whenever I got to that point in the game, the guy said that the moon was turning red like the color of a ruby. I thought maybe they were talking about that kind of censorship. I was like, oh, they might be able to say some spicier stuff. But then again, if people remember the debacle with the Final Fantasy VIII remaster, Siren, the summon, she got covered up a little bit because people thought she was too sexy. Now, of course, Siren in mythology was supposed to be sexy. That's how she lured people in. And so what does this really mean for the game? Well, let's see what the article says. Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster has now received its official ESRB listing, which pitches the game with a teen recommendation. The main cited reason for this is the presence of partial nudity, according to the game's ESRB page. Now, of course, that made me curious, and I started going through images of the Espers in Final Fantasy VI. That's what they called their summons. And yeah, Siren was originally censored. Now, I'm not going to show the image here because, quite frankly, it's a nude butt. You know, she's bent over playing her harp, and here in the States, she's wearing very short shorts. Over in Japan, she's wearing nada. Also, as I had a fun time looking for the uncensored Espers in Final Fantasy VI, get some odd search results. It seems like the goddess of magic, one of the, spoilers, stop right now if you don't want any spoilers at all, but you fight a goddess on the floating continent. And it's the stupidest censorship I'd ever seen. If going from like something that totally covers her top to something that's a little bit skimpier, but you still can't see anything. But anyway, let's see what else they say in the article. On top of nudity, the pixelated nudity. Oh, it's too hot for television, folks. Parents, don't get this game for your son. You're going to walk in with his pants around his ankles. On top of nudity, the long-awaited remaster of Final Fantasy VI will also feature fantasy violence. Yeah. Yes! Oh, Jesus Christ. You're not building a farm in this game, what the hell? Which should hardly be surprising to fans of the franchise. This game is supposed to be the last classic Final Fantasy game to get a remaster from Square Enix, and the appearance of its ESRB rating suggests that an official release date announcement should be coming soon as well. It would be nice if they came out with an official one instead of February. You know, I feel like if you can narrow it down to the month, why not just throw a day in there? Just throw a day. Just February 22nd. Just say that, and if you miss it, who gives a fuck? Well, no, never mind. I take that back. People lose their minds. So yeah, but if you can narrow it down to February, just make it the last day in February. Whatever. I don't know. I'm not a fucking game developer. The game's ESRB page goes into some detail to explain the reasoning behind its teen rating. Aside from instances of garden variety violence, such as punching and stabbing, well, if you like Setzer like me, you get to throw cards at people too. That's pretty badass. The listing also references characters that are dressed in exposing outfits. No! Oh shit. People are going to get upset. Women are actually sexy in this game. Let's go. Why do you need your girl characters to be sexy? There's other things to masturbate to. Shut the fuck up. Don't worry about what I masturbate to. I don't know. And I find that a strange argument. I'm like, really? Do you masturbate to everything you find appealing to your eyes? What kind of people think like that? Oh, you see something that you like? That means you must want to masturbate to it. Along with the exposing outfits, it looks like they'll have drawings of partially nude characters. For the most part, things that are par for the course for all Final Fantasy titles and their Pixel Remaster versions. You know, and there's a sample of the kind of art that seems to be unique to Final Fantasy, or at least I'm not educated enough to know where this art style comes from. But typically everybody's like very thin, and all their armor is very tightly form-fitting. Yeah, you know what? I'll throw in a picture of like the first Final Fantasy girl that I had gotten to know at all, because my first real Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy IV, which was 2 here in the States. Rosa. Yeah, I mean, her outfit's a little skimpy, right? It doesn't cover all of her skin, but then again, you know, it's not like ba-boom, boobs in your face. Whatever, I'm preemptively defending this. It's just, I can hear the voice in my head already of the kind of people who hate this stuff. The article continues to say, partial nudity may well suggest that Square Enix is using classic Japanese pixel art for the remaster, because the North American and Europe versions did receive some censorship back when they first came out in 1994. Most of the people playing these, I imagine, will be older adults. We can handle it now. Believe me, you know, it will be fine over here. But now, don't get out your pitchforks. I can kind of understand why they did this, because back in the day, video games were considered to be a child's hobby. It was mostly kids playing video games. I remember whenever I was a kid playing video games, my dad had no interest in playing video games. None of the adults did. They did stupid stuff like work on cars and work jobs. God, I wish I could go back and learn a trade instead of playing and talk about video games all the time. But yeah, but I'm like, now, why would you? Video games are mainstream. Back in the day, it was just the nerds. Everybody hated the nerds, right? Damn nerds playing their video games. But now that video games are cool, the cool kids want our table. HP, are you promoting gatekeeping? Yeah, I am. Fuck those people. Okay, here we go. Here's something I got something to say about. If Square Enix really is using the original Japanese source material for the remaster, none of the things referenced by ESRB should feel out of place in the final product. Further, previous Final Fantasy remasters have generally been true to their original releases, which means there's no reason to believe this Final Fantasy remaster would be any different. I've played a little bit of Final Fantasy IV Remaster. I've been meaning to stream it. I've just been waiting to get over this cold that I caught. At least I hope it's a cold. And yeah, one of the things I loved about it was Cecil has the darkness ability. In the original SNES release here in the States, it didn't have that ability. He could only fight and use items, because apparently the idea of using an attack that hurts all the enemies but costs you some hit points was too complicated of an idea for us Americans. But then again, we were just coming out of the satanic panic, so who knows, maybe over there they thought, oh, that would be seen as hurting yourself or some kind of demonology, blood magic, blah blah blah. Who knows? That's a stretch though. I'm really stretching for that one. I have no idea why they would take darkness away from Cecil the Dark Knight whenever it came across the ocean. However, I'll just simply say that from the little bit of the game I've played, I'm really enjoying it. It's going back in time. Every time I boot it up, I'm in a time machine now. I bet I've played that opening, the opening of it, and just going through the Castle Baron like 3 times already. That's why I'm not making it anywhere, because every time I start it, I play a new game because I'm just on that nostalgia blast. And the article finishes up with Square Enix remaster of the old Final Fantasy games have been fairly well regarded for the most part, featuring updated pixel art, remastered audio, which, yeah, it's nice, and some quality of life improvements. They're a solid offering for those who are looking to experience the classics on modern hardware. Note that Final Fantasy VI was already delayed not too long ago. with concrete details still pending. So yeah, we're still waiting for an official release date, something a little bit more concise than just February. At the same time, I can't be too upset, whatever. I know it's coming next month. I'm a bit older, so I don't need games to come out right away for me. Usually whenever I buy them, it might be a month or two before I actually sit down and play them. So whatever, I hope that's good news for those of you who mightn't have got to play this as a young adult like I did. I hope that you enjoy it. It's one of the Final Fantasies I will promote for people out there, or what you suggest to people. I'm a fan of the turn-based RPGs. I don't care much for the live actions, or I guess that the new Final Fantasy coming out where that dude just talks about chaos all the time, I guess that's going to be a Souls-like. So yeah, I have a feeling that my style of RPGs are, they're on their way out. And that's really all I got to say. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.